Was that line of thinking of wins and losses not being important, was that furthered backstage? Because to me, if wins and losses don't matter, then the things that you achieve by winning and losing, the titles, don't mean much either.
I think that, wins and losses, well, I don't think wins and losses matter, but when you're creating a TV show and the whole purpose is to win, there has to be some sort of prize at the end of it, right? Like I get in the whole grand scheme of things that you could lose 3 matches and then you could, I lost all my matches with Alistair, right?
Yes.
And that put me in a downward spiral, which made me, go side by side with the guy that thought he was God.
But
right?
I mean, then it matters because it led to something. You're in that downward spiral because you're like, I don't want to lose all the time. Like, what am I doing here?
And then to go off that, when I did join him, the following week I won the tag title. So in the story of things, he joined this guy and it worked. So the very first time I tagged with him, I get gold.
Yeah.
I'm listening to this guy. This guy knows exactly, right? I went from losing 3 matches to a guy that I know that I could beat into being a tag team champion in 2 weeks. So I'm sticking with this guy. And that was the way that I thought of the Disciple character, right? That's why, it was my idea for them to drop the Buddy out of Buddy Murphy.
I was just about to ask you that. So that was your call. How did that go? What kind of reception, or did you get any pushback?
So I was just kind of talking with Michael Hayes, and he goes, "What up, buddy?" And then he's like, "Oh, buddy," and he goes, "It's just too friendly." And I said, "Let me get rid of it." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, back when in the tag team, it was Blake and Murphy. I wasn't really known as Buddy. It was Blake and Murphy. I said, ideally, I would like to sacrifice my given name, which is the first name. You know what I mean? Let me sacrifice my given name and become a new, reborn person under this Messiah to go with the biblical story, right? And they went with it. They just never explained why. And I feel like that's a detail that would have made my character make more sense and go, this guy is so up this guy's ass. He dropped his first name. He sacrificed his first name for this guy. You know what I mean? So, but it was just never brought out. They're the details that I hate when they're missed.
It's funny you mention that because when you tell me that, I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. That's a great plot point. When Tommy End was doing his Twitch streams and he explained the Aleister Black character, he said it was like the devil with amnesia. He knew he had done something wrong but couldn't remember what it was. I was like, that's such a badass explanation of what he is. Why do you think they overlook these points like that? Because to me, that would reward me for watching every single week. I'd be like, okay, that makes so much more sense.
I don't think they care. I think it gets down to the point where they know who. It's not these little details on someone like me that's a side act, right? It just doesn't another detail that I think that was lost is when Seth made his big return and everyone was around the ring. Mm-hmm. They didn't want me next to the Mysterios, so they separated me and the Mysterios, but I didn't understand why I was out there. I said, last time this guy was on TV, I beat him. The Mysterios have such a blood feud with this guy. He tried to rip out the guy's eye, literally ripped out his eye, tortured his son with a kendo stick, literally corporal punishment on his son. And then they're going to walk out and show respect to a guy that's making his return? No. You know what I mean? Me being out there and me not next to the Mysterios creates more questions than answers. You just didn't need us out there. We wouldn't show this guy respect. Last time I saw, you messed me up however many times. I beat you. You went away. Now I'm showing you my respect and being by the ring. And it just didn't make sense. And to them, I was just a body. I was a body out there to make him look, to everyone out there to make him look like a big star. And that was what they said, because Seth didn't want people out there either. And then he was told, he goes, no, everyone out there makes you look like a bigger star. But in my eyes, it's just a I that wasn't dotted and a T that wasn't crossed. And I feel like, and I'm such a detail orientated person that it just infuriates me a little bit. And this is after I'd already asked to go back with Seth, and we didn't know, right? Like, it was so funny because we're walking out there, and no, everyone's like, "What are we doing?" A lot of people didn't know what they were doing. Well, we're just gonna eventually someone's gonna leave. We're gonna follow. So we didn't know the dialogue or the promo or anything like that. And then as I'm listening to it, I'm like, "This is perfect for me to come back." And I'm like sitting there. And everyone's just kind of walking away. And I'm just sitting there going, this was ideal for me to come back. I just don't leave.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh, shit, I got to go. And then I walked back and I was like, oh, man, like, there was such an easy thing for me to get back with him. It's just not leave.
To me, it's such a domino effect because nobody will ever complain about your wrestling show being too smart, but there will be people that complain about it being too dumb or dumbed down. So when you add details like that, it rewards me who watches Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, watches 15, 20 hours of wrestling a week. It makes me feel like, okay, there was a reason I watched that every week, and I feel rewarded. And I think when you make a smarter project or product, you cultivate a smarter audience and a more educated audience, and a more educated audience is more likely to invest financially in your product and your stars as well. So I'm surprised that the domino effect isn't clear to them, where they're like, oh, okay, you know what? This could net us more money if we have a more compelling show that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's at the point that, like, I wasn't on their radar. I was a body. So it didn't matter that detail. That detail, like maybe the however many people that noticed it, you know, they're banking on no one noticing it. But I feel like it's like one of the best things about the Avengers, right, is that they have these tie-ins and like these little hidden Easter eggs. And I feel like that makes me excited, right? That extra detail, it's just putting a little bit more effort. And if you put a little bit more effort, then I appreciate it more. But yeah, I just don't think that it just wasn't a thought.